All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to write the title down right here, adding and subtracting fractions with like denominators. All right, so to add or subtract fractions with like denominators, you just add or subtract the numerators and write the result over the denominator. For example, in number 1, watch me first and then pause the video and write it down. I have 5/10 plus 2/10, so technically I have a total of 7/10. If I have 11/12 and I'm subtracting from that 4/12, then 11 minus 4 would be 7 total 12ths. Okay? Now go ahead and pause the video and write those 2 examples down. All right, so let's do some more examples. First watch me and then go ahead and write it down. All right, if I have 5/9 and 2/9, I'm trying to figure out how many ninths I have. So I have 5 and 2, so I have 7. If I have 3/5 and they're negative, and I'm adding to that 1/5 and it's negative, then how many fifths do I have? I have 4, but they are negative. Okay, make sure that you take a moment, pause the video, and write this down. Make sure that you include the proper signage. Down here, these are both negative, so the answer is negative. All right, now you try these. Go ahead and pause the video, and I will be back in just a second with the answers. Ready, set, pause. Okay, so let's look at these. I immediately put all their common denominators on the bottom. And so I'm looking at 1 plus 2 is 3 over 3. So what do I really have? If I have 3 divided by 3, I have 1, or 3/3 is 1. I have a negative 3 plus 1, so I have a negative 2/7, and I'm done. Down here, I have a negative 2 plus a negative 2, which is a negative 4/5, and it can't be simplified any further, so I'm done. Here I have a negative 1/4 with a positive 1/4. These are what we call opposites. So if I have opposites, then I have a total of negative 1 plus 1 is 0/4, and 0/4 is 0. All right, so let's try this one. Sophia ate 3/5 of a cheese pizza. Jack ate 1/5 of the cheese pizza and 2/5 of a pepperoni pizza. How much did they eat all together? So if Sophia, and I'm going to write her name above this, ate 3/5, and this was cheese, and Jack ate 1/5, and this was cheese, and Jack also ate 2/5, and this was pepperoni, then how much total did they eat? We've got fifths here. They're all common, so I can just put the 5 on the bottom, and 3 plus 1 plus 2 would be a total of 6/5. So they had 6/5. Ooh, does that look like a good answer? What can I do with 6/5? Well, if I took this and it fell over, 6 divided by 5 would be 1, and I'd be left with 1/5. So I have a total of 1 and 1/5. Okay, this needs to be simplified. We don't call it reducing. We don't call it anything else other than simplifying. Okay, let's look at another one. You try this one. Make sure you underline and cross out anything that you don't need. Go ahead and pause the video, and I'll be back in just a second with the answer. All right, so if we look at this one, first he used 1/4, second he used 2/4, and third he used 3/4. We saw that here, here, and here. They want to know all together how much he used. So that all together is a sure fire sign that we are adding. So we've got 1 plus 2 plus 3, which would give us 6/4. That's what we call an improper fraction. So I can divide 6 by 4 one time, and I have a remainder of 2/4 left. So 1 and 2/4. Ooh, that still doesn't look simplified. So 2/4 can be simplified to 1/2. So altogether, he used 1/2 yards, or 1.5 yards, of fabric. What did we forget on the previous example? 1 and 1/5 pizzas. Okay, why? Because labels are, and you fill it in with an exclamation point. Okay, let's try some subtracting examples. -5/8 minus 3/8. So I still have eighths, so I've got a -5 minus 3, which would be a -8 over 8, which could be simplified. What's 8 divided by 8? 1, and a negative divided by a negative is a negative. So we've got a -1. Down here, the common denominator is 8 again. We've got 5 minus 7, and 5 minus 7 is -2 divided by 8, which would give us a -1/4. Okay, now take a second to write down those examples. Make sure that you have your correct signage, and make sure you box in or bubble in your answer. Now you try these, and I'll be back in just a second with the answers. Okay, here I have 5 minus 2, which is 3/9, and that can be simplified by dividing by 3 on both to 1/3. Here I have a -5 and a -2, so we've got a -7, because if I'm subtracting, remember that's the same thing as being negative. So -5 minus 2 is -7/9, and I'm done because it can't be simplified. Here we've got something going on that's a little different. Remember, -11 minus a -5, you see a not here. So this would be like a -11 plus 5. If that's a -11 plus 5, then we can say I have more negatives than positives. So let's find the difference, and the difference is 6. And so we have a -6/12. That can be simplified because 6 and 12 share a common factor of 6. So we can do 1/2. So -1/2. All right, so that's all I have for you today. Make sure that you have all your examples written down, and if you need more practice, go back and rewatch the video. See you next time.